So joined here again with Stephen Powers, who runs an immersive 360 experience. It's like a IMAX where you actually get to experience group experiences, laying down or standing up, and you look up at the sky, and you're immersed in this environment. And so I've invited Stephen onto the podcast to talk more about his experience and how he got here, and share all the different projects that he's working on, because he's a busy guy. So I'd love to hear anything that you're willing to share with my audience. And I'm new to this space, and this is quite the exploration for me, but I'd love to hear whatever you're willing to share and whatever is really making you most excited right now.
Well, let's talk about Wisdome, because that's definitely where I'm excited about. And in fact, we're very grateful that the city of Los Angeles seems to be quite excited about Wisdome as well. And you have been down to see what we're doing there. So Wisdome, as you mentioned, IMAX might be a comparable. It is a geodesic dome exhibition theater, music and art park, immersive music and art park. We have 5 massive geodesic domes. The largest one is a 27-meter dome. We are doing a technology that your audience may be familiar with called projection mapping. And we're using in the big dome, for example, 12 projectors to create a 360-degree image that is projected on the dome above you and completely surrounds you. So the impact is to get essentially virtual reality, but without goggles or glasses. And then we're adding to that visual image, which is being projected on the dome, with 16 speakers in surround, so that we're also creating immersive audio. And then we're putting in the foreground live music artists, performance artists, dancers, yogis, all kinds of different forms of entertainment. And it's creating what Forbes magazine called the future of entertainment.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I've actually got to experience that firsthand, and it is mind blowing. If you haven't been, it is an experience. It's a novel experience, and if it is the future of entertainment, oh, I hope it is, then this world is going to a beautiful place, because it is amazing.
Well, thank you for that. Those are very kind words. And we do hope the audience comes down and experiences what we're doing, of course. We put on shows every week. We have different programming at the Dome. We have a foundational exhibition called Samskara, which is the artwork of Android Jones, who is a visionary artist. Many of your audience may be Burning Man attendees, and the burners know Android, because we've been there with domes for many years, and they know his work. He's an astounding visual artist, and the whole exhibition is based on his artwork. And then we have created a 22-minute immersive film using his artwork, using the fractals of Julius Horstius and other CG artists like yourself to create this beautiful. It is a narrative film, although there's very little dialogue, but it takes you on a journey, what is called in the Vedic tradition, in the Hindu tradition, the journey of many lifetimes, which is called samskara in that tradition. And many people may know reincarnation in Buddhism, the idea of coming back and having many lives. This is the same concept in the Hindu tradition. And a samskar is an impact, or a something that you are dealing with, working out, learning, delivering a gift. So you have the samskara is this journey by which you deal with that. So that's our foundational exhibition, Samskara by Android Jones. And then on top of that, we will put a special event, whether it is this coming weekend, we're going to do Dark Side of the Dome, which is our immersive exploration of the music of Pink Floyd. And it's a 10-piece band. 2 of the members of Pink Floyd, touring and recording members of Pink Floyd, are in the band, Roberta Freeman and Scott Page. The drummer is from Jane's Addiction, Stephen Perkins. The guitarist is from Kid Rock. So it's an all-star band, Kenny Olson. And it's just a unique experience to hear this excellent musical performance. And then for every song, as if it were an immersive music video, we're creating a total visual experience to go with that song.
And you are preparing well in advance for these events, and you've had a lot of experience with running events, and obviously you know a lot of people in this space.
Mhm.
What is the purpose? What's your why? What's the drive behind bringing on, or like why would you choose Pink Floyd? Why would you choose Android Jones? What's your why? What's driving you to do all of this?
Yes, so I have had a lot of experience, many decades of work in the media and entertainment business. I started by opening a performing arts center when I was just 20 years old, and I have been a record producer for many years, former director of A&R at Capitol Records. I'm a Grammy-winning record producer. But the through line on all of that, since I was 20 years old, has been to create and to promote art and entertainment that uplifts the human spirit. So to really elevate and uplift and inspire has been my life's mission, and to use art and entertainment to do that. So the same through line exists at Wisdome. And by the way, this is not by any means just me. There are 4 founding partners. I'm very fortunate and honored to be one of them. And there's a whole team that are creating, what you see and what you experience there, and many different great artists. But the root word of Wisdome is wisdom. So we are there to deliver a transformational experience that might get you to look within, to experience a little of what yourself and what you might need to know, what you might want to learn, what inspires you. And of course, the music of Pink Floyd was always about something, right? When you think about another brick in the wall, right? That's really about something. How do you live your life? Are you just in lockstep with what the man wants you to do, or are you willing to think for yourself, right? All of these musical artists, all of the healing artists, so we also do healing type work there. They're all there to uplift the human spirit.
That's really beautiful. I think a lot of people that are in the creative side of art are in it to uplift people, like you said. And
Oh,
it's
absolutely. Art has always been, and music has always been a very powerful medium for that. Some of them are just in it for the commercial success. It's a road.
right.
It's a road to celebrity, stardom,
Hmm.
whatever it is. The old expression about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? I mean, that's luring too. And there's a lot of music that has darker energies to it that aren't really inspiring and uplifting. But what we focus on are those things that can really uplift. And yes, there are many, many other artists doing that sort of work.
And what are the sensory things that someone might experience when they're there? Like, what are they going to feel? And how are you hitting those emotions?
Yes, so for starters, they are going to feel like they are there. When you use the word there, they're not going to be standing somewhere and looking at a 2D screen and realize I'm here and I'm looking over there. Instead, we're going to place them in the middle of the action. We're going to place them in the middle of the piece of art, in the middle of the narrative, in the middle of the video, so that they literally feel between the immersive audio and the immersive visuals as if they were there and a part of it. So that's part of what people feel, is they feel amazed that it's all around them, and they feel like I'm no longer at Wisdome. I'm not in the arts district downtown. I am in whatever we're depicting. I mean, we have visuals that show the jungles of Thailand on an exploration of the great Angkor Wat temple, for example. And not everyone gets to go to Thailand and visit this 3,000-year-old temple. But when you take a 360-degree trip through the Angkor Wat temple through Wisdome, you are there. So what I find as people come out is the first word I always hear is wow, right? Or amazement, or I've never seen anything like that before. And people are delighted, they're happy. And that's such a great feeling to see. And I've noticed as well, a lot of times in the years that I've gone to concerts, you give your attention to a concert, and you end up being a little drained by the end of it, right? The audience is kind of like, oh, worn out, right? Because they gave their all. I
Yeah.
noticed that when people come out of Wisdome, that they're lit up. There's light in their eyes. There's light in their faces. They're even more energized than they were when they went in. And it's a very interesting sort of scientific and biological impact. And I'm not exactly sure that I know why that's happening, but there is something about immersive media that literally stimulates the neurons and stimulates the brain in a way that you probably have never experienced before if you haven't been in an immersive dome theater.
Yeah. Well, a huge part of my audience is going to be someone who is actually looking to have a spiritually uplifting experience without any drugs. They don't want to take anything. And what I've found is that there is this very strong tie between VR and projection mapping and what you guys are doing, and kind of people have a very stigmatized view on psychedelics, but
Yes,
you are creating a journey within the mind without any drugs necessary. You can go without taking anything and just very much like be immersed. What inspires you to do that? And how can someone who is interested in or not interested at all in tripping on, you know, they're afraid of maybe messing up their
psychedelics
brain.
or any other
Yeah.
medicine, plant
Yeah,
medicine.
taking no medicine, no, any substance. What would be a motivation to go and experience something like this? Maybe someone who has lost their religion, left their religion, or maybe doesn't quite have their community yet. What would be a motivating factor to go to Wisdome?
Yes, there's a great expression that I love, which is that joy is the evidence of God's presence. So if you're in a state of joy, in that elevated state, which we know what happens biologically when that happens, but you also, everyone knows that feeling, but then there are the pheromones and all the other biological. If you're in that kind of elevated state, which psychedelics can also evoke that for you, but as you said, there are many people who do not want to take psychedelics, and it's not necessary. So one of the comments that we often hear is, it reminds me of when I took acid, or I felt like I was on mushrooms, but I wasn't, right? So I'm able to have this clean, healthy experience that doesn't exhaust me, and yet it is so mind expanding. And Android Jones Imagination and the other artists who we work with, Julius Horstitz and so many other artists, they have these vivid imaginations. And maybe they were inspired by some plant medicine or something, but they also are artists. And so they bring great creativity to it. And so we're able to offer someone something perhaps they haven't seen before, they wouldn't have thought of, a vision that comes from an artist, but one that makes them feel as if it's their own vision because they're within that experience. So I'm not sure exactly why people are motivated to come. I know they just love it, right? And it's a great date night. We hear that often. I've had literally, I stand by the door and say thank you to people as they're walking out, and welcome, thank you for coming to Wisdome, and come back. And I bow to them, and namaste, and really try to give them that sort of personal touch of our gratitude for them being a part of this experience, because they are. It's an interactive experience with the audience. And oftentimes I'll get this like, I loved it. Oh my gosh, I'm so going to come back. But a lot of times from guys who are on a date, they'll kind of like go, wow, this was great, man. Thank you. Because their date is pretty lit up too, right? And that could
Yeah.
lead to something they might be looking for.
That's beautiful. Everyone needs a good date night too.
Exactly. But yeah, I
Okay.
think people come for many different reasons.
Yeah.
They come because they love a particular type of music. They come because they've heard that it's spectacular and something they've never seen before. Certainly, we are looking to create community. And to me, that's always been very important. Before Wisdome, I was the CEO of Agape Media. That was an important transformational community. I was the CEO of Bodhi Tree, also devoted to learning and living and connecting with other people. And we're doing that at Wisdome. So you can come on down and find your tribe, find people who really are interested in the exploration of life, if that's what you're interested in.
Wonderful. That's awesome. I think that this is a great space. I think a lot of people have lost their tribe. A lot of people don't have a tribe and are looking, and that's
Yeah.
certainly how I came up across you. And I'm thrilled by places that expand consciousness and put purpose before profitability.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how are you able to create a, a view on a sustainable future? What is kind of the tactic behind that, and how?
You mean a sustainable future as a business, or a sustainable future for the planet and the people?
Yeah, well, what drives you to create sustainability, obviously as a business, but also like you guys just had a sustainability um,
Well,
event
my whole life, I
like two
believed
weeks ago.
that media is one of the most powerful forms and mediums for learning and teaching, and that transformational media in particular is incredibly powerful. So you can provide ideas, you can give information and teachings to people, and they will be received in a way that sinks in at a deeper level because they're in a state of joy, because they're in an elevated consciousness, because they're stimulated, they're open. And
Mm.
that message can really go in. In fact, there has been a fair amount of research. One of the people who's a regular at Wisdome is a professor from USC. His name is Skip Rizzo, Professor Skip Rizzo. And he is the head of the Institute for Creative Technologies at USC. And for 20 years, he has been studying immersive technologies and VR as a medical solution for PTSD, for post-traumatic stress syndrome. And his research has shown that the brain cannot distinguish between a tremendously well-rendered virtual reality and real reality, right? So you're able to deal with a very deep level of how the brain is processing information through immersive realities and use it as a medical healing tool. So that's a rather extreme example. We're not going for that. We're going more for more subtle messages of community, connection. We are all one. Love your brother, love your sister, respect the earth. You know, these are the kinds of things that we think that the content at Wisdome, you know, brings forth.
Awesome. I love that message that we are one, and let's do this together. Let's create beauty together,
Mhm.
beautiful experiences. We don't have to just consume things that don't improve our life. We can actually be entertained by almost therapeutic group therapy. I like to call it group therapy, just because that's how I've found it to be. Music and art and technology kind of merging into one,
Yeah.
and it's almost like you've almost seen a vision of the future, and you've created it for you know, the society hasn't caught up yet, but you guys are there. Is there
Well,
anything else?
that's kind. Thank you. I mean, I do want to say that humbly that people have been working in transformational media and using film and music and art, you know, to inspire and uplift for as long as these art forms have existed.
Right.
And if you go to some of the great movies of all time, whether it's The Sound of Music, or whether it's The Matrix, or whether it's Star Wars, these are all films, or Avatar. These are all films that are very much transformational. They're
Mm.
all about how can we collectively, as humanity or as a planet or as a universe, be the good rather than the evil. So, I mean, we're not unique in that, but we're a part of it, and we're grateful to be a part of
That is that's probably a lot more respectful than the way I said it.
it. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I'd also like to say, yeah, I think we're doing something really unique and really special,
yeah,
and we're very proud of it. But I also think that it's important to stay humble and
yeah,
stay giving. And that's
yeah.
what we want to do. We're here to serve, we're here to give, we're trying to bring our gifts and talents. We're grateful to be able to do
That's wonderful. Is there anything else that you would like to share, and any other projects that you're working on, or anything? What's the thing that lights you up the most about sharing, either about wisdom specifically,
Well,
or something
as
else?
you mentioned, I do have other. Well, as you mentioned, I do have other projects. You know, I'll show you one right here. This is a book that I just published called She of God, and it is published on Powers Omnimedia, which is my publishing imprint. And it is a book by two women that is an exploration of the wisdom of woman through alchemical art and evolutionary empowerment. and it comes with a card deck. It is the primary creator of this is an artist who has been doing beautiful photography. She's been compared to Andy Warhol, has her artwork in big galleries in New York and around the world. But her work is also visionary art that's about empowering specifically women. And it's a book about creativity and using those qualities most often associated with women: intuition, empathy, compassion, connection, listening, things men aren't all so good at, and using those to really, find your way, whether you're a man or you're a woman, but to exercise those muscles that will increase your creativity. So that's a project, that I'm excited about. I also consult with a wonderful woman named Jennifer Partridge, and she has a company called Dream Awake, which again sounds like it's in the same vein as Wisdome, Dream Awake. And what she does is what's called emotional freedom technique, EFT, or tapping. Are you familiar with this particular practice? So it uses the same touch points, the chakras and the points used in acupuncture and so forth, to activate your neural system while examining your belief system and perhaps unblocking long-held limiting beliefs, right? And using that through affirmation. So, I love Jennifer's work. I'm a supporter of hers. I'm counseling her, and I actually we're going to bring her over to Wisdome, because I think there's some way to do what we're doing visually and connecting that with this technique that many people may be familiar with called tapping, and to make it even more powerful. So that's, another project. But most of my time and attention right now goes to Wisdome, which is plenty of time.
Sure, no doubt. Well, you're a busy guy. I appreciate your time that you've given so far, and I do want to wrap this up in the next few minutes. It sounds like the book. I'm definitely gonna have to recommend that. I'll look it up. I
Yeah,
haven't.
you can get it on Amazon. It's called
Wonderful.
She of God. Is the name
Wonderful.
of it. She of God.
Well,
So, they talked about, it's one of the things about ancient wisdom is he, and people refer to God as he. And in this case, they're talking about the divine feminine, the
wonderful.
feminine aspect of God, the she of God.
Beautiful. I think that world maybe needs a huge, huge push for that as
Even though
well.
I'm a man, I think so.
That's beautiful. I love it. Yeah, we need the matriarchs to stand up in the society.
Yes.
Now, just to wrap up, uh, how can we, my small niche, how can we help out? What can we do? What's the biggest thing that will contribute to the success of Wisdome?
Well, first of all, start by looking within, right? And be the change that you want to see in the world, right? So certainly anybody who wants to contribute to what we're trying to contribute to can begin with their own self-examination and self-awareness and their own journey. In terms of contributing to the success of Wisdome, buy a ticket, come on down and support us, please. We got shows. Go to Wisdome.LA. That's our website, www.wisdome, WISDOME.LA. And there's the whole schedule of upcoming shows that are there, and you can learn what we're doing, come down and support us. And in addition, we are inviting the creative community, and many of your listeners are probably amongst that. If you have an idea, or if you've been working on a 360 immersive project, or a musical project, or a healing project, or something that you think fits with this underlying theme of uplifting the human spirit and offering wisdom, not forcing it, but offering it, then, let us know. Reach out to us. Write to info@wisdome.la. Mention that you heard Stephen Powers on this podcast, and he invited you to contribute an idea. And we're serious about that. We're looking for other creative people.
Wonderful. Well, that sounds like an amazing invitation, and I hope people take advantage of that. I certainly will. I'm working on a VR project right now called Transcendence, and I will, when it's finished up, I'll be sure to submit it your way.
Well, I'm curious what your about the Transcendence project. I'm looking for an album I produced. Hang on a second.
Oh yeah, you worked on something called Transcendence as well. I saw you. I
I
believe
did.
you won an award or something for that, right?
Yeah, that's correct. It's an album by Michael Bernard Beckwith, who was the founder of Agape, uh, and I actually misspelled transcendence, and it's called Transcendance. Uh,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's deep house
That was
music.
intentional.
That was intentional, yes.
Okay.
It's deep house music that is very danceable, but has the lyrics are the teachings of Michael Beckwith, which are in the realm of new thought and science of mind, trans-denominational powerful teachings. And again, it's the same idea. When you're having fun, you are open to ideas coming in. When you're sitting there with your arms crossed, I don't want to hear about it, right? You're not very receptive.
Yeah, that's a lesson for a lot of people who maybe think that they're right. Maybe we need to just open up a little bit more and consider the views of all the other people that might know or offer a different perspective.
Yeah, I think that's very, very important. The first thing that I always run away from is if somebody tells me I know the only way, I've got the way for you, right? And then I'm like, okay, sorry, see you later. Uh, I don't, I think there are many paths, and that's why I refer to them as wisdom traditions. And the Buddhists have great wisdom, and the Hindus have great wisdom, and the Christians have a great wisdom, and the Taoists and the shaman earth. There's just so much uh, different wisdom out there amongst the different
Yeah.
wisdom traditions.
Well, that's a beautiful way to live. Just being very open to all the beauty around you. I love that.
Yes.
Well, Stephen, thanks so much for your time. I really, really, truly appreciate it. Interviewing someone like you who has accomplished so much is just a really true honor to be able to connect. And I'm just so grateful for the technology that allows us to do this, and technology that propels society for greater good. And so thank you for putting this together and your life work. I hope someday that I can fill shoes as big as yours and follow your example. So thank you for paving the path. Really
Well,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. It's certainly my joy, and don't distrust what you're doing either. I'm sure you're contributing, and thank you for today.